Today, I have to admit that my kids spend a lot of time in front of a screen, especially when they're home all day long. It's definitely important to monitor what your children are doing on screens. I think it's a lot less important to restrict the amount of time they're spending on screens. I'm Shayne Rodriguez Thompson, and this is MamásLatinas. The fact is that screen time is not what it used to be. Screen time used to be sitting our kids in front of mindless cartoons just to get a break from them. And while I'll admit my kids definitely watch silly cartoons and movies, especially on the weekends, I've found ways to use screen time that are beneficial to them and that foster some really interesting skills within them, foster curiosity with them, help them learn about different things in the field of STEM. Both of my children, who are 9 and 5 and in 4th grade and kindergarten, really love science. And my oldest discovered quite a while back when he was able to start using YouTube that there are tons of STEM-related video for kids on that platform. I see no issue with him watching that pretty much as he wants. The screens are a huge benefit to them, in my opinion. Based on what I've seen my own children learn, particularly related to science and the field of STEM, when they're learning how to build things, when they're learning the scientific process, when they're learning how to do various experiments that they're able to do along with it. It's been a huge benefit to them, and it's so much fun, and it's really a great way to keep them busy on days when they're home from school, whether that is because of quarantining, or if that's because of school breaks, vacations, weekends even. Days at home, it's a lot of hours to fill. And kids can be learning, right? They can learn through play, they can learn through books, but now we also have this amazing resource at our fingertips for them to explore so much more in the fields that they're interested in, and especially when they're fields that maybe their parents don't know as much about, such as the sciences, technology, engineering, and math. I am a writer. I don't know a whole ton about all of that, but the YouTubers do, and I let my kids take advantage of that as freely as I can while still keeping them safe online. My children will often watch science experiment tutorials, they watch nature documentaries. These are the things that they're interested in, but also the things that are super educational for them. Really, in this day and age, I don't see it as any different than them looking through a book to learn, except it actually can lead to more hands-on learning. My children can watch tutorial on YouTube on how to make a bottle explode, and they've had lots of fun, and they've learned scientific concepts, and they've actually been able to do it along with the video. And I remember even when my son was a toddler, there was a huge stigma around screen time, and while there still is to a certain degree, I think that especially after a year of virtual learning for so many children, that stigma is lessening, and I think that we're starting to accept that quality of screen time matters a whole lot more than how many restrictions we need to put on children for their screen time. For example, my daughter she's the younger of the two, and has always had to sit around and wait while my son was at sports practices. So when she was about 2 and a half, I started letting her play educational games on a tablet. Well, before I knew it, my daughter at 2 could count to 100. She knew all her ABCs. She could recognize all of her letters, and she was able to do all of this long before she even started kindergarten. And a good part of that was simply because I was giving her a resource on a screen that helped her learn more than she would have otherwise. My kids ask me all the time, "Mom, can I watch YouTube? Mom, can I put this show on? Can I watch this on Netflix?" And I gauge, right? I let them have fun. I let them watch something silly. I let them watch something that's just, something fun that kids want to watch. But I also try to balance that a lot with the educational content. especially the science-based content. My son has big dreams and goals of being a marine biologist, so he watches tons of videos on marine life and sharks and fishing and boating and all that sort of stuff. My daughter also one day hopes to be a doctor, so she watches a lot of experiments. She also really likes watching crafts, which is pretty fun because there are a lot of YouTubers that have come up with some really interesting things, and it sparks curiosity in them. And they come to me and they tell me everything that they learned. Mom, did you know? And a lot of the time I didn't know, and so I'm learning from their screen consumption too. My kids have so much fun, and I honestly feel like they have learned so much more thanks to the time that they spend on YouTube and on different educational apps than they would have even with just a regular elementary school education supplemented with what I can do with them at home. The key, I think, is to be involved, to know what they're watching, and to have open conversations about what they're consuming on screens. But also we can utilize these things as tools for our parenting and for our children's education. This is where we are in the world today. These are skills and tools that they're going to need as they go into middle school, high school, and even adulthood. If both of them are learning things that are going to equip them and enable them to meet their goals academically and eventually professionally, then I'm not going to put a damper on that.